Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. I just want to start the hour by reminding us about our winnable war moment today, which is the IRS backing down on these 501c4 regs. IRS has backed down. They have been forced to hold off implementing these new regulations, and this is a credit to you as part of the AFA network, as part of the Focal Point listening audience. This is a credit to you, because you weighed in. We sent action alerts out. We urged you to contact the IRS, register your comments. 150,000 comments they received. This is more than twice what they've received total over the last 7 years on all of the other issues they've asked for commentary. They just were overwhelmed. They were deluged with comments from people saying, this is a bad idea. This is a terrible idea. And I mentioned in the last hour, we got calls from major media outlets in the East Coast because they'd gone to the IRS website. They were blown away by the number of comments that were posted there. And they began to sort through the comments, and they realized that 16 to 17,000 of those 150,000 comments had come from people in the American Family Association network. There was only one other organization that had generated more comments to the IRS website than the AFA. So it put us on their map. I mean, it made them sit up and take notice. We got calls. How could this organization in Middle America, in the Mid-South, in Tupelo, Mississippi, how does it have the kind of impact nationally that it does? They're used to all the big players being back there in the East Coast, back there in D.C., kind of blew them away. So it's a credit to you, and it shows you. We ought to be tremendously encouraged by this, because it shows, ladies and gentlemen, what we can do if we make our voices heard. You know, Russell Moore, I've got a column up today on Russell Moore. I talked about this last week, about how he's surrendered. He represents the Southern Baptist Convention. He surrendered in the war on marriage. He's given up. He's not even fighting that battle anymore. Russell Moore says it's over. We've lost. Same-sex marriage is inevitable in America. The best we can hope for are a few crumbs of religious liberty along the way. I mean, he's surrendered. He's run up the white flag, and he speaks for the largest Protestant denomination in America. And then you look at what happened with the IRS, and you say, there is no reason to give up. Come on, Russell Moore. There is no reason to give up, because there are still plenty of Americans who share our values and are willing to make their voices heard. And that's exactly what happened with this IRS deal. And the IRS has had to back down. This is John Koskinen, who's the commissioner of the IRS. During the comment period, which ended in February, we received more than 150,000 comments. That is a record for an IRS rulemaking comment period. In fact, if you take all the comments on all Treasury and IRS draft proposals over the last 7 years and double their number, you come close to the number of comments we are now beginning to review and analyze. In other words, he's saying this 150,000 comments, this is about twice the total of all of the comments that we have received on every issue over the last 7 years. It was just absolutely overwhelmed. It was huge. He says it's going to take us a while to sort through those comments, hold a public hearing, possibly re-propose a draft regulation and get more public comments. This means that it is unlikely we will be able to complete this process before the end of the year. So that's our winnable war moment, and I believe that the IRS can be defeated on this. We've run them off. We've backed them down. They're backing away. I believe we can run these regulations right to the nearest landfill, dump it in there, never to be seen again. 888-589-8840 is the number to call. Clip 7 is that news story I promised you back in the first hour. CBS doing a brief story on this Mozilla CEO, Gay Gestapo, is out there for this scalp. They want to scalp this guy. They want to pin his scalp to the wall as a trophy. They will not be content until this guy is buried. His career is finished. He will never be allowed to breathe the same air as polite company again. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, don't let anybody fool you. Don't let anybody lie to you that homosexual activists, I'm not talking about all homosexuals, please understand, I'm talking about homosexual activists, the gay lobby. Don't let anybody lie to you and fool you into thinking that these people are tolerant. They are the most intolerant bullies and bigots on the block, and we're seeing that with the way they're going after the CEO of Mozilla. CBS picking up on it, and you notice they're not sympathetic. They basically think this guy brought it on himself. Let's listen.
The dating website OkCupid prides itself on matching all couples, including gays and lesbians. So it was not okay for OkCupid when it learned that Brendan Eich was named the new CEO of Mozilla, the company behind the highly trafficked web browser Firefox. 6 years ago, he personally donated $1,000 to support Proposition 8, the California initiative banning same-sex marriage. Homophobia's got to go! From Monday until late last night, anyone accessing OkCupid using Firefox saw this message first. Calling out Mr. Eich directly, it said in part, "Those who seek to deny love and instead enforce misery, shame, and frustration are our enemies, and we wish them nothing but failure."
In today's day and age, with social media being so immediate, that any public statement by a corporation needs to factor in how it represents the firm as a whole and how it's going to affect the brand for years to come.
Which is why Firefox is now in a firestorm of bad PR.
Firestorm of bad PR. So CBS clearly coming down on the side of the gay Gestapo in that whole deal. By the way, I want to clear one thing up before we go to break. 888-589-8840. You might have seen some of this yesterday. A lot of people on the left criticizing Hobby Lobby because their 401k plan allows for employees to invest in companies that make Plan B, that produce and manufacture abortifacients. And so they're critical of Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby are being hypocrites here. They're hypocritical. Hobby Lobby's at fault here because on the one hand, they're saying we shouldn't be forced to provide abortifacients to our employees. And on the other hand, they're investing in companies that make the stuff. Now, here's a piece on Forbes.com. You're not going to get any more authoritative source on economics and Wall Street and investment than Forbes.com. And they say, look, all Hobby Lobby is doing is providing a 401k. That's a platform that they provide. And it's the employees who invest in the 401k. They're the ones that make the choices about where their money goes. Hobby Lobby doesn't direct those funds. The employees direct those funds. And what the employees do is they direct their funds to what are called mutual funds. So these mutual funds, they invest in a whole range of stocks. And most people, I've got a 401k here at AFA, I've got absolutely no idea all of the companies that the 401k, the mutual fund, is invested in. I don't have the time to wade through all of that. I'm a partial owner of probably thousands of companies. So here's the point. Hobby Lobby has nothing to do with the choices of these mutual funds and who they invest in. They may be investing in pharmaceutical companies, and maybe the Plan B is just a small part of what they do. Who knows? The point is, it's not Hobby Lobby that's directing the funds to invest in these companies. It's employees who are sending their money to a mutual fund. It's the mutual fund that is deciding where that money goes, and the employee is trusting the mutual fund. He doesn't have time to wade through all this. Otherwise, he would buy stock himself. Hobby Lobby is off the hook. Focal Point AFR Talk.